Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chelsea and I'm a first time mum to Rose documenting my postpartum experience. I'm postpartum now, so I was going to say pregnancy, but obviously I've given birth and I'm a mum. So yeah, this is my postpartum experience. I talk about mental health, recommendations of things for babies, and just how I'm finding the journey in general. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my body. We're nearly 10 months postpartum and I wanted to just share a little update of the physical changes that I have experienced. I've talked a lot about the mental changes because those have been things that have really shook me to the core, but today we're going to talk about our body. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I purposely didn't wear makeup for this video because the first thing I wanted to highlight is my bags that I have inherited postpartum. My husband and I have both inherited these bags under our eyes, and that is from a lack of sleep. So that's something that has changed a lot since having a baby. But I feel like when I was pregnant I was tired a lot of the time because I was having restless nights because I had back pain, or maybe the baby would move lots in the night, so it kind of has been building up. So I would say and I did go to like 41 weeks pregnant, so I'll say like when I got to like 6 months postpartum, when pregnant, I was having trouble sleeping. So let's add 6 months plus my daughter's only 10 months, so that's basically a year and a half of not great sleep. So that's what it can do to you. The next physical change that I wanted to talk about was my wrist, which is one that I didn't expect, but it makes sense. So I obviously carry my daughter a lot. I am right-handed, but I carry her on my left side. Like if I'm carrying her, I'll prop her on my left hip, I'll have my hand like this, and I realized that I was bending my hand, like doing this action quite a lot. So that's why I have really bad wrist pain, especially in the night, but it has gotten better now because obviously it like intensified, and I was trying to think of why it had intensified, and I realized that I would obviously prop her on my hip a lot. When I'm propping her on my hip, I'm holding her like this, as I just said, and in the nighttime also, because we co-sleep, I would like bring her into me and I'd have my hand in this position for the whole night, so there's no actually relaxation of my wrist. It will just be in that flexed position for the whole night, so that's why I was getting pain in it. So we kind of made some adjustments to our sleeping positions, and I think that has helped with my wrist. And I also try not to carry her with one hand a lot, but it's just so convenient when you just like scoop them up and just carry them to the other room, but you don't realize that repeatedly doing that can obviously cause damage to your wrist. So yeah, that's something that it comes and goes, but it's definitely better than it was before. The next body change that I have experienced is every cold. This is since she started nursery. Every cold, and I'm just recovering from one now, every cold that my daughter gets, I inherit. So that's a physical change, because obviously before I would say I didn't really get that ill. Obviously we had the pandemic, and I did used to work in London, so I had a really bad hay fever, but in terms of colds all the time wasn't really a thing for me. But now that she has started nursery, and before she started nursery actually, she got her first cold and she passed that on to me, so that's something that I've been dealing with, like not being sick all the time, or being sick when she gets sick. So that's a physical change. The next obvious physical change, and the reason I wore this top, is because I wanted to talk about my tummy. So as you can see, there's lots of loose skin. My body down there is very, very different. So I used to be an athlete in my, I don't want to say younger years, because I'm 28, so I'm not that old, but in previous years gone by, so there was no loose skin, I had a six-pack, I I mean, yeah, in terms of the rest of my body, like I'm still physically and muscly. However, this part of my body has definitely changed. And I'm not gonna lie, it's taken a while for me to sort of not accept it. I knew that my body was going to change, but I just wasn't sure what it would look like after. And obviously I'm still 10 months postpartum, so it's not like it's been that long. It hasn't been that long. Like she's been outside my body now, that as much as she's been in there. So she was in there for 10 months, she's now 10 months old, so it's not been that long in the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? So yes, my body has changed a lot, but it does take time to adjust to new things. So I haven't been too hard on myself. I do exercise and work out maybe sometimes 2 times a week, sometimes 0 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week, and I just sort of just go with the flow. Some days I'm like, not really feeling this, and other days I'm like, girl, you look great. So it's just really a combination of just getting used to all these changes that are going on. I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, having excess skin is really not that bad. And I know that because my torso, obviously we all have different body makeup, so my torso is very small, like the section that it takes up. So when I was pregnant, this bit of my body stretched so much. Like by the time I got to 10 months pregnant, I'll insert a picture here, like my stomach was out here, it was huge. So I knew obviously that when it went back, because it was a small section as well, that it would be stretched. So it is what it is, you know, it's not the end of the world, there's worse things to happen. Another change that I would say postpartum is my breast. Obviously I'm not going to show my breast online, that's a bit too much, but obviously breastfeeding, I'm still breastfeeding, so I do have stretch marks, and my breasts like change a lot. So if you're breastfeeding and your boobs are full, then they expand, they're bigger. Then once you breastfeed, then they deflate, and then it goes through that sort of pattern numerous times a day. So obviously there's gonna, like, once it expands, then it goes back, then it expands, then it goes back. It's gonna change because that's never happened to your body before. So yeah, they're not as perky as they used to be. There's stretch marks there. But for me, before I got pregnant, I didn't really have big breasts, and I don't really care about breasts in that, you know, there's some people, like there's body parts that we sort of pay more attention to or that we like more. For me, it's not my breasts. I don't really care as such. It's just I'm giving her milk right now, and that's that. So it doesn't really bother me as such. I mean, I think those are all the body changes and things that I've noticed and experienced. My periods have returned. Oh, that's the last thing I was going to say. My periods have returned. My periods returned when she was 7 months, I think, or 8 months. How old? Yeah, 7 months postpartum. They returned, and they have been. I've only had 2, so I'd technically be having another one this month. We'll see, but they're not as painful, which someone did tell me that once you have a baby, your periods aren't as painful. They're not as painful anymore, but when they do come, like, my mood is even worse than it was before I had a baby. And I think that's because of a mixture of the hormones from breastfeeding, the demand of motherhood, and then the hormones of like getting your period. It's not a good combination. So I'd say that really affects my mood, and just it also affects my milk supply. And I think when I was following people online, I saw someone say that when you get your period it can affect your milk supply, but when I get mine, it's drastic. Like, my boobs then deflate to like it's nothing, like pre-pregnancy boobies. And I was like, what's going on here? But then I realized that it's because of my period. So it happened like 1 week before my period. I have a drastic drop in my milk, and then once maybe like 2 days into my period, then it returns back to its normal. But I just keep feeding and she seems to be getting enough milk. I just can't pump or produce any extra milk during that time. So yeah, those are the physical changes that I have experienced postpartum. It's a journey, to be honest, and I feel like you're just learning to love a new body, learning to accept a new body, and our bodies change over time, whether we're pregnant, whether we don't get pregnant. Like, there's different seasons of life where you go through different things and your body changes. So I feel like it's easier to accept that and go with the flow than just fighting against it and hating it. Hating it just takes so much more energy, in my opinion. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope if you're a new mama, I just want you to remember that your body grew a life, you're sustaining life. Even if you're not breastfeeding, you're cleaning, feeding them by a bottle, entertaining them, bathing them, you're sustaining them, and your body right now is getting up every couple of hours even though you're extremely exhausted. So you are sustaining life and you're doing a great job. And if you do want to change things about your body, you can, but just be gracious to yourself, give yourself time, and treat yourself with the care that you treat your baby with. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.